Thank you very much. I think these are challenging times, and labor is hit hard. I mean, the reality would lend to their support, partly also because inflation has gone above even government's own targets in the 2022 budget. Inflation currently has drifted away from even the upper band of the central bank's own targets of 8% with a symmetrical rate of 2%. In other words, the target band from 6% to 10%. So the last inflation rate was 19.4%. Apart from that, you're also looking at this together with other developments within the economy. If you look at it, on the other hand, in terms of disposable income, if you look at other taxes that have been introduced from 2021, you are looking at COVID levy, 1%, you're looking at sanitation levy. On top of that, we have introduced e-levy. So when you put all these things together, it's like there's no way of escape for the ordinary Ghanaian. And particularly for workers, or particularly those in the formal wage economy where negotiations and all of that probably were tied to inflation at a certain time where it was even less than 10%. And 4 months or so into the fiscal year, inflation has drifted all the way to 19%. Then it means it gets very serious for them. What that presupposes is that the budget for January can no longer deliver the same value in March. Meanwhile, salary will not change necessarily. It even gets worse for those who are on pension, who are receiving a fixed pension, whatever allowance at the end of every month, and the rest of them, because they have no means of asking any adjustment or so to keep up with price developments. And then if you look at the composition of the CPI, the drivers of the inflation, you realize that even if you decide to be very prudent with spending, you can't avoid these adjustments of changes in price that dwarfs the value of your wages or salaries or your income.
From what you understand to be the inflation rate, basically what they are asking will then be what percentage increase in their remuneration or compensation?
I think government will have to negotiate with labor. You also have to look at what the economy can afford, whether the government has the fiscal space to be able to load on all of that. So some kind of negotiation, honesty, transparency, full disclosure that says that we appreciate the challenges you are going through, but this is what we are willing to do in these difficult times. This is the roadmap. That will be very helpful, rather than just saying that, okay, let's strictly use the inflation, let's say 19% and all that. But you're also looking at the outlook beyond this year that is likely to decelerate a bit and all of that. But if you also look at this, you see that though external factors are pushing some of these things, bulk of that is also a reflection of domestic policy failure. If you look at the fact that we have control over some of these things, that we should be able to be self-sufficient in some of them that we have not, and the fact that we then tend to blame Russia, Ukraine for everything. For example, if you look at Africa, Africa has almost 60% of the world's unused arable lands. But we are net importer of food. In 2015, our net import for food alone was $35 billion, projected to reach $110 billion by 2025. That is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So some kind of negotiation will be very, very important. And I think government will have to open that negotiation quite frankly and discuss. Then, because what makes it a bit difficult for government right now is because of how they pressed the fiscal accelerator in the COVID times. Okay, so the COVID spending took the deficit to a high level because we were just coming from one crisis or the other, from energy crisis, financial sector crisis, then we walked straight into the pandemic. Okay, and all of these things are having a toll on our fiscal strength. So we don't have the fiscal space, but of course, there could be some adjustment that government would want to do and engage with labor that makes labor fronts a bit peaceful, which is needed for enhancing productivity. Other than that, if you choose not to do anything, people will go to work and pretend to work even in these difficult times.